What's going on, guys? Leroy from Noisegate here. In this video I wanted to show you a track that I've been working on and break down the sounds I've been using to make it. Now the track is still in its infancy, it's not quite finished yet, but I've pretty much got the bones down packed. Each element in this track I've used sounds, instruments and effects from Komplete 12 Ultimate. Shout outs to NI for the hookup. So I've got a bit of a house vibe here. Let's take a listen to what I've made and then we'll break it down. Okay, cool. So anyone who's not familiar with Komplete, it's a production suite featuring a wide variety of sounds, samples, instruments and effects designed to work inside your DAW, and it can literally be used for any genre of music. I've also got the Komplete Kontrol M32 keyboard here from NI, which is a 32 mini key keyboard controller, and it perfectly integrates with all of our sounds in Komplete via the Komplete Kontrol software. Plus it also features a great Ableton control template, which means we can use it as a MIDI controller for Ableton. Nice. So when starting a track, I always lay down my drums first, just to give me a groove before I start experimenting with melodies and bass lines. And Battery is basically one big sampler designed exclusively for drums. Each of these cells here contains a sample or a drum sound, which we can then sequence in our DAW. It offers a pretty vast library of kits designed for electronic music, but for this track I've got one loaded from an expansion pack called Timeless Glow. If you're not familiar with expansion packs, there's a link in the description for an article I wrote on Noisegate about exactly what they are. So each of these cells here contain drum samples, and we have a lot of control over all the parameters inside Battery. We can edit the way individual sounds sound using our volume envelopes. We have effects tab down here, modulation, and then the master, we have a lot of compression and buses and a whole range of functionality to get our drums sounding right. But I'm just going to go ahead and create a pattern using this kit here. So let's just go for it. I'll activate my metronome. Very simple. Let's click on this clip here, and I'm just going to press my quantize button, and that's just going to align all of my MIDI notes to the closest 16th value. So it's all nice and tight. Now I'm just going to go ahead and just do some overdubbing with some different drum sounds. Oops. Just need to activate clip mode. Okay, and let's go ahead and put in some hi-hats. All right, sounding pretty good for now. Now you'll notice that I've got the kick drum coming out in the secondary channel here. That's because in battery, I've assigned this kick drum to come out of a second channel just because it makes it a little bit easier for mixing or editing in the mixing stage. So all you need to do is left click on a drum cell and select output, go direct out, and then select the channel that you wish it to go to, create a new audio track, select audio in from battery, and then assign it to the channel that's going to, in this case it's 3 and 4. So whenever I select the kick drum, it'll come out there. Now for this kick drum, I've placed a transient master, which is kind of a great dynamic control for drums. And it's useful for bringing sounds to the front of the mix. And I've also used NI's Solid EQ, which is a 6-band EQ, and I've given it a bit of a boost around 80 Hertz just to make that kick drum really pop. And on the other drums, I've placed drum bus, which is an Ableton native plug. I use it literally for all my drum tracks. Really makes your drums come alive. I definitely recommend checking that out as well. Cool, so we've got our drums down here. Now I kind of want to make these drums swing a little bit more. And to do that, I'm going to use a loop from the Timeless Glow expansion pack, which is the same kit that I used for the battery. However, this is going to be an audio loop. Now all expansion packs come with a series of one-shots and loops, and I'm going to grab one from here. And these are really, really great to use as they sound really good and they really speed up your workflow as well. I'm going to pull in this one and just drag it into my clip just here. Let's just hear how that sounds. All right, nice. So now you can just sort of see that sort of sitting back in the mix a little bit, and it really just kind of makes my drums pop a little bit more and gives them a little bit more swing. All right, nice. Let's move on to my bass line. So normally I would reach for a synth to lay down a bass line. However, with this track, I really wanted a funky bass line sound of a bass guitar. Now I don't own a bass, nor do I know how to play one. But I didn't let that stop me, so I went for the Rickenbacker Bass instrument, which emulates the sound of the Rickenbacker 4003. So let's lay that down. But first of all, in Komplete Kontrol, which is the software here that I'm using that houses all of our complete content, I'm just going to select scale mode, and I'm going to get it to select D as our root note, and I've selected minor as our scale. And now all the notes on my M32 will assign to a D minor scale, which is really nice. I'll just turn this off. Okay. All right, let's just go ahead and pop that in. All right, nice. Let's just click on that clip. Now it's pretty tight already, but I'm just going to quantize that anyway, just to make sure it's nice and tight. And I might apply some groove to it a little bit later on. Beautiful. All right, now processing wise, I've applied guitar rig to really make that bass pop. I've used a preset from the Bass Amps presets called Precise Bottom. I can't even talk. And this has applied some EQ, a little bit of compression, and some sort of bass amp emulation to kind of really make that bass guitar really pop. I've also got a filter which is currently inactive, but through the breakdown here, I've automated it so it turns on, rolling off a lot of those sub frequencies just throughout that breakdown there, plus a little bit of extra compression on the end there. Nice. So for the next element, I really wanted a sustained sort of synth sound that's sidechained to my kick drum channel to add some rhythm and tension to my track. I decided to use one of the new Contact instruments from the Play Series collection, Contact 6, called Analog Dreams. This is it here. This is this uses a blendable sound source sampled from vintage synths combined with easy to use interface, and it really makes some really amazing synth sounds. Let's go up the octave here. Cool. So I've got this running through my compressor, sidechain to my kick, so it will give me that sort of pumping effect as it plays. And I've also got this effect here called Flare. Flare is a flanger style effect from NI's mod pack. It's a super nice sounding effect, but differs from most flanger effects as it has this voice mode, which is used to create some kind of harmonic layering. So let's go ahead and pop that in there in this clip right here. Okay, nice. Again, just going to go to my clip and quantize that just to make sure it's nice and tight. And we might come back to it a little bit later and edit the volume. But what I will do is I'm just going to quickly open up that filter a little more. Lovely. All right, nice one. Okay, so moving on, let's move to my next instrument. And this instrument is also part of the Play Series collection in Contact 6. It's another standout for me as well. It's called Hybrid Keys. This blends polysynths, pianos, mallets, and other organ-type sounds using wavetable synthesis to create this hybrid instrument that sounds really amazing. You'll notice a common theme here. It uses the same streamlined interface, and it uses these 8 macro controls here with this blendable sound source. We can blend between each of our wavetable sources on either side. Now, I've also got my scale activated for this one. I've got D minor, but in this one I've actually got it playing chords as well, so I've got it playing triads. I go down the octave a little bit. Alright, cool. So not much processing on this one, just a little bit of EQ and compression, and I'm just going to go ahead and pop this in here now. Nice. Again, it was a pretty tight performance. However, I am just going to go ahead and quantize just to make sure it's perfect. All right, cool. So you can see how our track's kind of coming together here. All right, the next instrument I used, I wanted to incorporate some sort of like rhythmic chords to go through my breakdown transition to create some sort of like rhythm and tension. The Una Corda is what I decided to go for. Let's open it up here. It's another sample-based contact instrument that sounds like kind of like a blend between clavichord or harp and a guitar. And I picked a preset here called Cotton Vinyl. If you have time, you should head to the NI website and check out the video on how they made this instrument. It's actually quite amazing. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop this in now. Nice, let's just solo that. Oops. And I'm going to go ahead and quantize as well. Now processing wise, I've got the Replica Delay unit on this one. However, I've got it inactive currently because I bring it in through the breakdown. So let's just show how it works here. I've used some automation to activate it and bring up the mix just to create that transition from the breakdown to the drop. Nice. Yeah, Reverb Replica is a really great creative delay plugin as well. Okay, moving on, I've got a little vocal chop here as well that I've taken from the Timeless Glow sample pack as well. However, in the One Shops tab, there's a series of vocal chops, which you can hear. And I've used this one, Vocal Frog, which is a pretty strange name, but I've dragged it into the simpler. I should probably unsolo this. I dragged it into the simpler and sort of chopped it into two regions. And sort of played it in there. And then I've also used the flare flanger effect as well, which I used on Analog Dreams as well, just to kind of give it a bit of width, and it blends nicely with the reverb that I've got set up on my send channels down here, using the Replica XT, which is a creative multi-mode delay plugin, similar to Replica. However, it features more delay modes, effects and features, plus this delay window going on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop this in as a clip. Should probably have that activated as clip mode. Might just go ahead and redo that. Here we go. Nice, there we go. And this last channel here is from an instrument called Verizon Hit, which features a series of cinematic style builds and rises, and great effects to use as transitions between different segments of my tune. And in this track I've used it right before my drop. And that's what this instrument looks like here. There's a series of great presets as well that you can flick through. Utilizes a lot of cinematic style rises and tensions as well. Really great for all kinds of applications. So there you have it, that's my track so far. I'm going to head and finish the rest of this arrangement, but maybe add in a few more elements as the track progresses. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for updates on content, and we'll catch you next time.